Morning, good morning.
Now, why would you not put me on the screen too?
You can come up whenever you want, as Jared always tells me. How y'all doing?
Yes.
Also, we want to talk about you just getting in here, because Ear Doctor always exposes me if I'm a minute late.
Anyways, what it do, nigga?
Nothing. Oh, wait, we got the full cast and crew today.
Yo. What's up, y'all?
Hi, Geechee.
Morning.
Hi, Geechee. Happy to see me, Amber.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
You was like, hi, Geechee.
This is my normal voice.
How y'all feeling?
I'm doing well.
What you eating, Geechee?
That's a good question.
2 snacks.
Oh.
These Nature's Bakery thing.
Interesting.
What you having for breakfast this morning, Amber? That's not our check-in, y'all. We're just making small talk.
I didn't have anything.
Well, you wake up super early. That's why I was asking after the show if you were gonna have some, because.
Oh, probably not. I probably should have a protein shake.
It's something. At least you're getting a meal in. I need to figure out what I'm gonna eat too. I'm looking at my fridge and it's empty.
I'm starving. That's your fridge empty?
Yeah.
He's like a man.
Yeah, I'm we'll see what I could find in the back there.
Not in the bag.
Okay. What's Josh got? Okay, Josh has a great question for us this morning, as always, lacing us with a good check-in question. So today he asks, what has your natural hair journey been like? What would you tell your younger self in that regard? That's a good question. When we think about it, who wants to start?
Amber.
Okay. We volunteering people.
Well, I gotta start.
You're going to inspire us to be more intentional about our journey.
Oh. That's what you thought my natural hair journey was?
I don't know.
I
don't even think I've been on a natural hair journey.
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah, all right. Let's start with the easiest way. How long y'all been growing your hair out?
Since my senior year of high school.
Okay. And we're not gonna.
But I didn't grow my hair out. It was my normal hair. I just stopped flat ironing it.
Oh, okay. So you haven't intentionally, but why'd you decide to stop flat ironing it? Would be the question.
I just wanted to wear my natural hair. I didn't get perms, so that wasn't really a problem. I got perms like when I was younger, and I wasn't really into the flat ironing and stuff like that.
Was that routine easier for you, or do you think?
Yeah, I guess it was easier. Like after I used to I wore it like in a what's it called? I wore like different protective styles or like transition styles, and then like cut my ends. It was fine. I think that like when I decided to go natural, it was becoming a thing where it wasn't like a big deal yet. It really wasn't like a lot of people transitioning or like going natural until I was in college, and I was already natural then. And so then I was like, I'm seeing like this like huge uptick and stuff, but I never really had issues with wearing my hair like how it grows naturally. I think my mom struggled with it quite a bit, and she still be denying like stuff that she said to me about it. And I told her she's a fucking liar because I don't know what it is about these Virgos that they can just erase like how they treated people in situations or like what they said to them. But she had a lot of like anti-black rhetoric around it. And then she'll tell people now, like, oh, I wasn't worried about Amber because she knows how to do her hair and da da da. And that is not true. She used to tell me to wash my hair fresh before I had interviews, like job interviews and stuff after I graduated college. She was like, you don't want it to look like you put your hand in an electric socket, as if like my hair, like normally growing out of my head, looked different than when I freshly washed it. But other than that, I really didn't have any issues. I mean, I don't feel like anybody bothered me about it in high school or really bothered me about it in college or in my adult life. I just wanted to, I kind of always had this obsession with like big hair. Like even when I had flat iron hair, I used to like wear it very curled and like large. I liked a lot of volume. I was really obsessed with like the 70s hairstyle. So I kind of always have liked my hair to be like that. And it's just easier. I feel like I'm more connected to just wearing the afro, how it looks. But I was not interested in doing a big chop. I know that like a lot of people were doing that. I definitely was never interested in doing that. I have always had long hair. My hair is long now, like it's mid-length now. And I wasn't interested in cutting it off to go natural. I just was like, I could just get my ends cut and stop flat ironing it. And I did.
Yeah. Well, it seems like your hair, you caught it early enough in like your journey where you didn't have to start from scratch. But peace and good morning to the infamous chat. I am seeing two folks saying I did the big chop 25 to 26 years ago. I haven't looked back on my second set of locks. I did the big chop back in the 90s and felt a weight lifted. Did anyone remember there's a Sanaa Lathan movie, I believe, where she does that big chop? Yeah, I think it's a big yeah, I never watched it, but it did seem like a movie exploring like hair trauma.
And you talking about that? Wasn't it what is it, ugly hair or something like that? Good hair, or that's something else?
That is a Chris Rock movie, which I thought was interesting. But that was that movie, Good Hair. It's Chris Rock, so I don't think the politics on it will be that great. But he was looking at like the black hair care industry back in that film. And then I'm trying to Nappily Ever After, which interesting name.
Nappily Ever After.
That's what the movie was called. Nappily Ever After. Yes, thank you, Sugar Shan. I might be interested in watching the trailer for that one in a little bit. People say the book is better. It's usually the case, right? It is based on a book. Okay. And got to check that out. My story was
but it's not based on her story, but she talked about how like it was a big thing for her to cut her hair as part of the movie or whatever.
Right, and then to grow it back and all of those things. Definitely, yeah. I'm curious.
And I think that people who want to do that should do it. I just wasn't interested in that shit.
Well, I think part of it is that some people, after a very, very long time, like their hair texture has changed because they've been permanent or added product to it. So they're just like, I have to, start from the root and then grow it out again.
Yeah. Luckily, mine wasn't like that because I wasn't getting perms and stuff. And I had been doing my hair since like middle school myself. My sister, she locked her hair, but she had to like cut a good chunk of it off. Like I had to cut it off for her. She like grew it out. And then I cut it off her because she had been perming her hair for a real long time. So she had to like grow it out and then cut a lot off. But now she has locks and they're fine. But it took a long time for her hair to lock too.
Oh, yeah. Now we have some interesting. This is a real science experiment. So Amber's a twin, for those of y'all who don't know. And is your sister's hair texture, everything identical to yours? I know you said obviously like things change it, like her doing certain things to it that you didn't. But do y'all have?
Yeah, I think her hair wasn't as healthy as mine's because she was perming it so much. She also like
that's what I was about to ask. The add-on to Lord, like how did your mom's statements impact you versus how did it impact your sister? If that's
my sister doesn't really agree with my mom about a lot of stuff, but she was getting her hair permed because my sister had longer hair, but it wasn't as healthy. So she just was always getting it permed because it was just like how she kept it up. And then she would just wear it in a ponytail a lot. And because she was wearing it so much in a ponytail, it was starting to break off at the ponytail. So then she stopped wearing the ponytail, and then she got her hair cut, and then I cut it for her after she grew it out some more. And she had like a little bit of a bigger TWA, like you know how we got the teeny weeny afros. She had like this much hair, and it was like curly. And then she let that grow out some more, and then she locked it. But it took a very long time to lock because we do have similar textures. Like we have softer texture hair, so but like not all the way around. Like my sister's hair is soft pretty much all the way around. Mine's is not soft all the way around. It's like thicker in certain places and kind of like it has like three or four textures in it. But because she was locking her hair, it took a really long time for it to lock. Like it took her like almost 2 years for the actual locks to lock. Like they was really struggling because she was like, I was like, you gonna keep trying to do it? She was like, yeah, but they told me it's gonna take a while. I was like, okay, girl, whatever you want to do. But now she has like long locks that are like down here, and then she cut them, like she cut the sides, and she had like just the middle for a little while, and then she like grew them out again. So now she's back to like all the way around locks. She just be doing all kinds of stuff, but I'm not interested in locks. I know people like make it a big deal, but hair holds weight, and I don't know why people act like it doesn't. But locks are heavy. Like if you have a lot of them, they're heavy.
Wash them.
Yeah, and I can't put tension on my hair because I have my neurological condition. Like I can't even put my own hair in a ponytail, like my current hair. Like I can't wear headbands and none of that. And people were kind of pushy about the whole lock thing sometimes. It's annoying. Like, just let people do what they want to do. But I also hate when people act like locks don't have weight. Like people like to be like, it's not that bad. That shit is heavy as hell. I have held my sister's hair. It's heavy. And y'all be in denial like it's not. And I don't like
Geechee.
it.
That's right, Geechee in the lock community. It's on
No,
y'all.
listen.
Stop pushing the propaganda, buddy.
Listen, this
Straight
is why
propaganda.
this is the other reason why Amber should always go first, because Amber is an incredible storyteller. And the way in which she like delivers story makes you want to like stay engaged. And I'm like forgetting about our part because I want to ask more questions.
More questions. Yeah, I'm like, this is why scientists are obsessed with y'all, by the way. You gave us a whole scientific twin study right there. Oh man.
Man, so look, I've been watching Sadiq and Jarrett's financial literacy episode recently. And they are in Claudia Jones, and they made me go back to read Claudia Jones. I love reading Claudia Jones, and I wonder, Amber, if you read Claudia Jones yet, because some of the things that she talked about as it relates to triple oppression, and then going back to Jarrett's point about psychological warfare and how people are responding to myths. Right. And sometimes we critique the people who are responding to myths without placing the full critique or blame on the people who created the ideas that create those myths. So I wonder if you had if you still have, because I'm not a therapist, but I was trying to hear like, oh, I wonder if Amber still feels the way. But I wonder if you look at some of the things your mom said as your problem with her, or your critique or problem of the system that even made her feel like Black women have to do this and got to be this, and because if they don't, like, that's kind of what, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I have read Claudia Jones, and we read the like not the full book. We read the essay she wrote about triple oppression for the Black August Freedom School, and the students really liked it. And then we also read that what is the name of the article thing that BAP uses when they're posting stuff? You know what I'm talking about? Their website?
What?
Hood Communist?
Yes, we read the Hood Communist article about it too.
Oh, yeah.
I would say with my mom, I would say both. I think that I have just come to the realization that some people will not, will not acknowledge like harm they've caused in situations. And I just don't have the time or the capacity to keep bringing it up with her or like to try to resolve it, because there's been other situations too when she was like that. And I think it's because she's a Virgo. I also think that like, folks in there, she's not old. My mom was like middle age. And I think that middle age towards older Black people can be very stuck in their ways, and they're not used to being challenged because no one else is challenging them. other than me and my sister, no one else is challenging my mom on the things that she thinks or the things that she says or like the ideas that she has on different things. And it has changed like some of the thoughts she's had about different things, but it has not always changed how she responds to the critique that we give her about stuff. And I think that I know that her critique and her like points were out of worry for me. She's always been worried that me and my sister wouldn't like be able to sustain ourselves or find good jobs. Like, she wants to always make sure that like that's the one thing that she cares about, because she's a middle-aged Black woman, and that's how middle-class Black people think. Like, you got to have a good job with benefits and be able to take care of yourself. And she doesn't question it now because I make more money than her. But before, she was like, unsure. She wasn't sure where things would go because I'm very different. And when I got hired on my first like corporate job, I had purple hair. I had dyed my afro purple, and it was fine. And she was so worried. And I was like, I don't know why. Like, it's not a big deal. But I think that she has just been taught this idea of like how people's hair should look, how it should present. Her and my auntie still get perms to this day, even though it ruined her like reproductive organs. Like, she had horrible fibroids. She got to get a hysterectomy. She had all these issues, and she still gets them perms. Like, she is not letting up on them joints. Even though my nana did go natural and has an afro, and she doesn't get perms anymore. But my mom and my aunties, like, they sticking with it. And I think that if it had impacted me in a way where it was like, oh my God, this ruined my self-esteem or something, I might bring it up. But I had a conversation with her about it like years ago, and I was just like, yeah, you were wrong. And I think sometimes people also will not remember or push things down when it's caused harm, because that's not her intent. I know it's not. I know my mama loves me, and it's never her intent to cause harm. And sometimes when she realizes something has caused major harm, she has kind of like pushed it to the side or pushed it down so that she can't like, focus on it. And she'll just act like she don't remember doing it. And I just be like, I remember it. I can quote you word for word what you said before, like literally before my job interviews, the night before, you telling me I got to get up earlier to wash my hair to make sure my hair is fresh, when no one cares about that, because you want them to see me to have like these 3C like curls versus like my actual afro, like how it looks right now, because that's what's considered, presentable. So I think that she, wasn't trying to harm me, but I think that she wasn't always willing to accept the level of harm that she caused. And even my sister would tell her that, yeah, you was wrong. And she'll just act like she don't really know. And I was like, and that's why people have boundaries. And that's why I have boundaries with my parents, with my mom and my dad, and with my family, because I'm not going to let nobody play in my motherfucking face. And every time she try to do that, I just set a boundary.
I want that clipped. Damn. Well done, Amber. That was amazing. No, it's true. I'm just watching it because this is so parallel to my experience. It's crazy. I'm glad you asked that, Geechee. I'm glad you brought up Claudia Jones, one of my favorite revolutionaries. I was nerding out in the chat, dropping all the Easter eggs on those concepts. Yeah. And then I see in the chat, very similar. I have a boomer mother. I am going to put her a little on blast. We were raised not to do that on these internet streets. So even a part of me is worried, and a part of me is still scared as I'm ready to announce this. But it's very similar to Amber's experience. Yes, I think someone said this is what moms do in general. I do want to say I have observed this across like race. Actually, this my mom says that she never did anything wrong or denies these things or those kinds of things. So I do want to point that out, but. I appreciate Amber for explaining how within the Black experience, as a particular reason and trauma for it. And I'm glad that you approach it with care. That's how all of these hair combos need to happen. And unfortunately, they don't. Still a lot of shame, still a lot of you didn't do this or you need to do that kind of thing. But my journey was, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, because I
was going to say my journey briefly. My journey is similar, like very, very similar. My dad had the stay soft fro, smack that gel on you, just rub it in your afro and comb it out. That was his thing. That was it. Or you getting it cut off. We would go to the barbershop together, but that's where it came from. Stay soft roll, big old gel, rub it on, and comb it. So it was not a lot of variety there. What I wanted to go without, though, my thing about my dad was he was relatively independent by the time he was a teenager. So when it came to what he wanted to do with his hair, if he wanted to get his ears pierced, honestly, like my grandma apparently like used to take the cork and the needle and pierce his ear, right? So my dad got to do all those things. He learned how to braid his own hair over the pandemic. He actually was braiding my hair. So I had like a real healing experience as an adult around, hair care and that journey with my dad and him being proud of it. And then my mom, like you said, you figured it out now, you got past all their worries, you got the job, and then all of a sudden it's, I forgot, or this is great, or they might even be like, I love your hair, when are you going to wear it like that? So now my mom's a big fan. She's playing with my hair all the time.
She with the shit.
Bro. And before, as a kid, it was very similar to that. Now, again, respectability politics is where my mom's coming from with it. I'm actually about to helping her with an event for Black women's health around fibroids was something that she brought up. But we still have to push past that respectability, because she was trying to ask me for a title. And I was like, menstruation, menopause, like fibroids. And she said, ooh, menstruation's a dirty word. I said, ma'am, no, it's not. What are you? She's like, yeah, when I grew up, it was a dirty word. I'm like, it's the scientific term for period. There's no way. And she still fought me on it. She still so that part of her, she has to heal past. And, sometimes our parents, we just accept they're stuck in their ways. But growing up, outside of the basics, going to a barbershop, that kind of experience, when I wanted to grow my hair, it was a no. And it was a big respectability thing, and the usual excuse, oh, it's not you I don't trust, it's other people. I'm so worried that you're going to be pulled over by the police and you're going to be profiled and harassed and blah, 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 blah. And my point, even as a kid, was like, that shit already happens. It doesn't matter. I got called a thug in a uniform at 14. It does not matter. So that was like the biggest thing. So I asked to try and I wanted to get cornrows so bad. And Geechee, you know what era we grew up in. This is Bow Wow Lil Romeo era, okay? Yeah. I need the braids. And it was like, nah, you can't get it for years. Then it was like, you got to pay for it on your own. So I'm like, all right, let me put my little money away. I don't know how to find a stylist. I don't know how to do any of that. So at 14, she was like, you can get braids if you get all A's. And I was like, crazy, but sure. And I got all A's and a B+, and I was like, can I get, nah. I was like, damn, it's like that. So I wasn't able to grow my hair out. She's straight. She the principal. I learned a meme. Ever. So that was my journey. But by in my 20s, well,
that's my favorite trend on TikTok. I love that trend.
It's funny. So when I'm in my 20s, people brought the Duke Started 5, the sponge fro. So I was doing that. And my other friends who also had their similar natural hair, things with their parents were like, you doing that? Why are you making your hair intentionally nappy? Why are you doing da-da-da-da-da? Next thing I know, my friend, he stole my sponge and started doing it himself. So that was the start of my natural hair journey. So I started growing it out, found a stylist, and then been growing it out for, past like 8 or so years. But it was a lot of pushback on all the things you described, Amber. Like, will you be able to get a job? And then in the medical field where my friend is, where it is very white, where it is very racist, and you might find some 60-year-old who like, what are those? What are those things on your head, right? There's worry about that. So that was it. I might do my lock journey in my 30s. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it if possible. But yeah, that was my Geechee.
I gotta ask you a question too if I go. So especially because of the great work that Black Men Build is doing now, the conversations that y'all having among men. When your mother said, it's not that I don't trust you, it's the other people around you. And if you ever heard as a man or as said as a man, you say that to your partner, your woman who you don't really trust, and you be like, she's like, it's not that I don't trust you, it's that the people. So I wonder, I wonder if that.
It's a cop out.
Yeah, I wonder if that had an impact on you, and even in your analysis of patriarchy too, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's internalized, right? So that was the first thing where I'm like, well, patriarchy is an ideology because, like, one of the most patriarchal people, or in terms of standards and teaching me those gender norms, was like my mom. So I was just like, where's this coming from? This is obviously oppressive to you as a Black woman, and now you're imposing on your own child. So, like Amber said, my mom would always say, "I'd never do anything to hurt you. I love you." Da, 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 da. So I understood. Clearly, it's coming from a place of care. But then my definition of love, when you talk about the politic around patriarchy, I was like, okay, well, I have to have like a more politicized version of love. It can't just be this, I love you so much, I gotta control you and then shift blame onto you, because that's what that does get you, right? Like, oh, I don't trust you, I don't trust people around you. Okay, well, how do you trust me? Like, how do we get into the point where I can control literally the hair that's coming out of my head and is not determined by, those kinds of things. So definitely, it played a huge role. Even discussions around, hair and queerness, right? Like, oh, why do you want long hair? Even my grandpa, when he saw my hair out and he saw I had twists for the first time and they were down, he was kind of like, oh, you kind of look like a girl. I was like, all right, though, man. Appreciate that, but it's doing well for me. I'm not having any problems with it, but that kind of standard, 100%. So yeah, so it can be bad. I think coming together to talk like we're doing right now is healing. And then the biggest thing was like a lot of the conversations were still not focused on like care and working through why what happened to you. Whereas that was kind of my whole thing. I would always be looking for, where is this coming from my mom? And like I said, when I was 14 and called a thug for the first time by my English teacher, mind you, because I didn't know who she was. It was a random white woman on the street to me. But then you go into class the next day and that's your English teacher. Crazy. But then I was like, okay, this is what my mom's talking about. But the part she did not give me, which is the part that should be given to children, is the way to fight back. Why is this happening? How do you, she was like, stand up for yourself, but it was still like, go along to get along. Don't make too big a deal about this. You fighting over here, you need straight A's. Like, and then if I told her she said that, like people in the chat are saying, she would deny that she ever said those things, but they're in my childhood core memories,
I was going to give a short answer, but the way y'all set y'all's up, I was actually thinking about my hair journey just now that I wasn't really connecting. So I grew up in Charleston, Moncks Corner. My mother's from the Bronx. I was born in the 80s, so you can imagine what the Bronx hair scene was like. But also when my mother moved down south, her and my Aunt Brenda, they were like sisters. And my Aunt Brenda always did hair. Like all the people in the area, like they go to Aunt Brenda in Colesville. So yeah, I think I always been around people who like engage in artistic expression with hair, like, and my mom was into that. So it's like my mom used to have a little the fingerprint joints, and I'll be like,
oh yeah,
like, but she used to do that at corporate America. Like she worked at this place called Berkeley Citizens. She did like taxes, and so she did multiple things and always kind of like did her hair. But in Charleston, like you could see young sisters with those hair with the blue hair and the green so it's like I don't think I remember, and maybe I have to even go back. Like I used to always get fades and stuff, and even I would assume even lineups are not professional. I mean like trim up are not professional, but if you're getting temp fades and you're getting all the parts and stuff in your hair, like that's not professional either. But that's kind of what. So, and that makes me even question like what the hell is natural? Like of all the African people with all the different hair, like what is you mean? What do you mean by going natural? I don't. Are waves natural? And
right, we do have to manipulate our hair to create them. That's a good point.
Yeah, but
I would also think with the amount of products you have to put in for waves too, that it's not natural, because a lot of those products are harmful too.
Yeah, but then there are African people with already wavy hair, like who don't have to put the products in.
Right.
But in 2018, I started doing the cruddy, the sponge.
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, I'm in Baltimore. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the cruddy with the young people. So I used to get like a temp fade or fro, whatever you call it, going to cruddy, and then messed around at on I forgot her store name already, but it's a juice spot on Paul in Baltimore. She used to also have like a bunch of African stuff, and I put some of this some type of thing in my hair. It was like frankincense or whatever, and then just start locking, and then that's when I just started doing freeform, and I was like, I probably wasn't gonna cut it again.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I don't never remember like not really. I mean, unless when I was getting low cuts and way like I didn't put grease in my hair, but unless I was doing low cuts, unless that wasn't natural, I'm not sure, or bald or whatever. But I don't remember. I've seen people talk about the hair stuff, but I don't remember experiencing that personally. With like my sister does sister locks now, and I don't remember any of that with, I guess, the people that was around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you had still to be able to see the different styles, and like you said, it was celebrated in a way. Like I think I understood that like the afro, even because of my mom's era, was a sign of resistance. So I do acknowledge that like for some of them, it's just like this is a big change to see from generation to generation, and a lot of times they're stuck on their old survival guide advice, right? So they're just like, this is what I was told, this is how it goes, blah 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 blah. And then they rooted in against some really harmful stuff, like again, to where is the origin of patriarchy? Always asking. Well, every Sunday I would see some of the direct origins of patriarchy and where we're getting this divine law from. So Bobcat says, "A man shall not wear anything pertaining to a woman." The Bible verse my grandmother quoted whenever any of us grandsons got cornrows or locks. And of course, this is quoted super out of context, most likely, and you could argue a bunch of things that they don't apply, but I am saying that is the appeal to authority as to like, oh, it's not just me. This is not my personal issue that I'm projecting onto a child. This is something divine that comes beyond you about how men and women are supposed to be. So definitely. And I see Chitty Matcha also sharing. My grandma experiences extreme traction alopecia from having her hair pulled and pressed for decades of conformity, and cried about her natural hair as an 80-year-old woman after living a full life. And of course, Chitty Matcha says that made her very angry at white folks, Eurocentric beauty standards, that kind of thing. And that's horrible.
Leah's last comment too said, in Ghana, men letting their hairs grow out or not having a low haircut is looked down upon. But one is to say, probably, is that before contacts with Europeans? Is that currently, or is that before?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think so. That was what I was going to ask y'all. Who taught you hair care would be the next question, because again, outside of the basics, there aren't like community classes, and I've talked about this before as a survival program, the same way we talk about we need community programs for language so we don't lose those skills, or cooking so we don't lose our recipes, like braiding classes. I've said this before, I'm sure it has happened, and so this is just like our isolation and lack of organization potentially, but why is there not something to change the hair scale thing? Like we all use 4C, and from my understanding, it comes from a white hairstylist, right? So even that, where I'm like, and the way I see it solved under capitalism is everyone will individually do their own thing. So different stylists would be like, oh, go look at my book. I have a new program, and this is my hair care, grading kit or something. But I'm talking about collectively going neighborhood to neighborhood, sharing this. What do you think? What's your hair type? So we can create something that's an alternative to this 3A, 3B, 3C, 4A, type of thing. But all of that, I think, is something that takes, community knowledge. Right. So how do you braid hair? How do you take care of hair? What do you do with different kinds of hair conditions that our people experience? All of that is what I'm looking for in sort of community programs for kids right now. And there's YouTube. I appreciate that. There are YouTube tutorials. When I first started my journey, I was able to go and see somebody teach me how to do a wash and go, that kind of thing. So that is something that's also different in this era that I don't think maybe existed in the past, but still think it's a gap that we're trying to fill.
Yeah, I know someone asked, where did it go? Someone asked me, I wonder why Amber thinks it's because she's a Virgo. Is this a generalization for all Virgos or specific to your mom? No, it's about all Virgos. Virgos are not good at handling confrontation because of the like innate idea that they're always right. And because my mom and other Virgos, as someone who is a Virgo moon, so I also be thinking that I'm right most of the time.
Everybody can't be a Virgo though.
I'm saying I think a lot of Virgos really have a hard time dealing with confrontation because they feel like they're objectively right no matter what. And because she thinks that, it's very hard for her to hear about something she did that was wrong. It's very hard for her to accept it. That's why I say it's because she a Virgo.
I thought that was isn't that a stereotype of Tauruses? You know, me and the
all of them the same. When you read them, they all. Like,
I've never heard that about Tauruses, but I don't really know a lot of Tauruses either.
Yeah, I think the Taurus thing is like they're stubborn but always right or something like that. That kind of thing.
I think that's different though. Like that as a personality trait versus how you react in confrontation is different.
Yes.
My mom doesn't think she's always right, but in confrontation or like conflict, it's hard for her to like approach it from a way of like, you know, hearing the other person because they're confrontational and feel like they're always right. So like they're gonna approach the confrontation and yeah, that's what A-Rob just said. Most Virgos I know are confrontational because I'm a Pisces and Virgos is our opposite sign. I'm not just making it up.
Man, listen, man. Between the, I feel like I'm lost in most of this conversation between horoscopes. That's horoscopes. Is that what they call?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Between horoscopes and hair journey, I don't feel like I participate in none of the conversations.
Well, I was about to say.
Brittany said Virgo here can confirm exactly.
Okay, but then this.
And I like to say,
but then this happens.
Okay, it's
then this happens, and I'm like, come
exactly.
on, man. I think I have the same birthday as or same birth sign as Obama or whatever. So this, you know, we'll have a whole convo about how this can be used healthily. But yes, Geechee, we're getting into real salon territory when we're talking about hair care journeys and astrology signs, things like that. But
I mean, I just think that it aligns with their personality type. But I also will say, I tell people often that I've been personally victimized by a Virgo parent because I have. I think it is a specific experience to have a Virgo mom, Virgo parent in general. It's a lot. It's like she had a lot going on.
Yeah.
Don't have the character count to fully articulate, but these areas, there is a discussion being explored regarding Black African salon shops and a shift from collective communal wait area to individual appointment. Oh, 100%. Where's that? And then wait, is that why barbers? Because when I came back, the barbers was like, no, we don't do walk-ups no more. We do by appointments. And I thought it was because he didn't want no money, but it's something about collective. Like people don't want, they don't want people.
Well, I think part of it, we had a big shift that, you know, our people like in this society are still going to have to grapple with, which was COVID. I think we're still, well, first off, as others I think who on this platform have said it hasn't gone yet, right? America just pretends like it's gone. But I remember once the pandemic popped up, that was even more common because people still had to find a way to live. So it would be I'm gonna come to your house. And that's why I see the black, if I see the black gloves on Instagram, you got the black gloves, you making a home appointment. I'm like, yeah, someone's paying $150 for a haircut, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
But when it comes to salon space, and I was just talking to my stylist about this yesterday as she was braiding my hair, she has to decide between going to like a big corporate salon and taking a payoff and being in a group, it's not even a black air salon entirely. It's all sorts of people at JCPenney, or keeping her own salon, having to pay a lease, having to pay all these fees, get her, that kind of thing. And she was really talking about that. And so, the salon when it was her space only, it would be me, her sisters, a bunch of folks, and we'd be having a great time. Watching what we watched last, that Tyler Perry Boaz, Ruth and Boaz. Watching Ruth and Boaz and having conversations about it. But once I went to the JCPenney, it's you call, they take commission, they put you on a schedule, whoop, you get there, and it's just in and out. So I think obviously the original institutions, they still exist in the community. There's still barbershops, there's still salons, all of those things. But as rent goes up, as opportunities to go places to get that money, gig economy comes up, things change. So she was saying, I've never been a backyard braider. I don't like people coming to my house. That's like not my thing. But I know a lot of people will do that because they just have to, make ends meet.
Yeah. I like going to the beauty shop. I don't feel like, the one that I go to isn't a individual experience. It's like a regular beauty shop. But it's a natural hair salon. It's not, they don't do anything. It's not natural hairstyles, but it's like, 6, 7 booths in there and like multiple people. Sometimes there's people in there that like I'll talk to, sometimes not. A lot of times I'll be going like and doing work. So I'm not always talking to people, but they are also very convenient. Like they have like a little like desk, like a roll around desk you can use. I put my computer on. I can get food DoorDash there if I'm gonna be there for a little while. I also like that no one really knows me there. I've only been one time where some lady walked in and was like, I follow you. And she was talking to me and I was trying to like, all right. I don't want to talk anymore. But other than that, for the most part, nobody bothers me. So I like it. I do feel like it's a communal experience. And I feel like I'm able to like the stylist that I have, I'm able to talk to her and ask her questions and like we have interesting conversations. And then some of the other people in there, they're into stuff that I'm into too. Like they're into reading books and stuff. And I was telling them about this book, Lessons in Chemistry. And so they downloaded it. And then when I go back next time, we're gonna talk about it, see what they thought about it. So I do like that. I feel like there's a communal experience. But I've also gone to like someone's house to get my hair braided. And that was fine to me too. It's not a big deal. I've got my hair braided at that salon too, though. So I've done a few different options. And I will say the girl who braided my hair, I like the personalized experience. I walked in, she had a little board with my name on it. She was like, welcome. Thank you so much. She had snacks. She was very kind. The chair was comfortable. So, I mean, I'm cool with either one, but I do like the shop just because it's closer to me.
So I got a story about Harlem. And this ties back into where Claudia Jones was deported from. She was living in Harlem at the time. I was just at my cousin's house in Polo Grounds.
I know what that is.
But what's merging for both of y'all, like having, and what Kai said in the chat, having an at-home business or doing like the solo one person or having a big salon. I remember my cousin was like, oh yeah, I'm a business owner. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, I went to her business and not no shade but it was this big ass building, salon maybe. And I don't know what it was just big. And inside there was like, everybody had boxes to do hair or nails or something. I was like, and so it was like, maybe like.
Oh, you're talking about the little salon suite thing.
Yeah, it was like 40 different businesses in there, and all of them had like, and I was like, what's going on?
I've gone to one of those. It's just a way that like corporations have like found a way to capitalize on like businesses needing a space to like do hair and stuff, but not having enough overhead to have their own business. We have a few of them here. They're called like Lux Suites or Salon Suites, and they have them all over the country. People will buy a big building and then they just make little bitty rooms. The place I went to get my braids taken down, they're in one of those. It's called the takedown bar, and they're in this little box suite thing.
Same. That's exactly the salon I was discussing. Like it's not its own standalone place. It's actually within a building. So you have to go and walk past all these other people. So yes, absolutely. I think we're just describing, how capitalism is doing it. Obviously, the same combos happen around technology. If we're being dialectical, it should be able to make the business more efficient. Appointments, like everyone's talked about for years, right? Going into a barbershop and your appointment is messed up and blah, blah, blah. It's a whole thing. So it should be, yeah, there's my name. You have, you can go in your file like a doctor and look at my patient files. Oh, this is the styles we used to have. This is your issues. You have, some dry scalp, that kind of thing. Obviously, but that's not how it ends up. Ends up hyper individualized and also super commercialized as people try and compete for attention on social media. So I actually wanted to highlight something that my friend shared that I was laughing at the other day because it's like, first off, my guess was this was in Atlanta, by the way, but I don't know. This could be anywhere. Let me show you.
Hard on them.
I'm not hard. Listen, this is very Atlanta.
They're hard on themselves. Okay.
Oh,
so it is Atlanta. Yeah.
What is that?
All right, I'm gonna show you. So this is a video.
Play that.
Oh, this is a business. Oh.
Yes. Buckhead Nail and Toast.
Oh, I had to zoom in on because I know what's going on.
Not that hookah.
Is this a young?
The hookah with the mimosa, Amber.
These hookah heads be serious.
What is happening, bro?
Because why are they putting honey on their legs? Lord, the bees is gonna be on her.
Okay. Oh my god! All right. First of all, I want it. Low-key, I want it.
No, you don't. You finna get ate up.
But hey, really quickly though. So as y'all was, so I never really connected the thing that my cousin was doing with the suites that y'all talk about with the ghost kitchens, right? All these different restaurants in one building. But I wonder if that means that, Lord, you ever had like, I'm sure you had conversations around how hard is it to organize labor at this point, because maybe the entrepreneur spirit, maybe, whatever, unions that are controlled by the corporations. But with all these entrepreneurs getting back into space that looking like workers or celebrated entrepreneurs, would it make it easy to organize them now? Now you can go organize that whole damn salon building, even though it's 17 different businesses in there, they're still at one industry. Like,
my stylist kind of arrived at that conclusion, just dialectics, having that convo, what you just said. And she was kind of like, yeah, but it's interesting, right? Because she was talking about the two situations. One would actually be more, I think, a classic workplace scenario where she works as a stylist for JCPenney. She gets paid a certain commission and then like a set rate for holding her chair. And then she gives the business the rest. And so I think that would be more of a like labor organizing. We all as workers have to decide what we want. But in the salon suite situation, she actually was like, oh, this is like a landlord, essentially. And so she was like, she even said it. She was like, yeah, I have a good landlord is what she was saying. And actually the person who was over the salon had given her a form and was like, if you fill this out saying how good of a, landlord I am, basically, you can enter to win $750. And so this was, so I'm saying, so this is the thing, like you have all of these different independent salons with leases that would have to come together and renegotiate the terms of their lease, but they're also getting kind of bought off by, things like that, win $750, which really ends up being a month of rent to go straight back to the landlord, right? But you don't see it that way. You're like, this is so cool, blah, blah, blah. And then you have the individualism of the, well, my salon is going well, boom, boom, boom. And then even in capitalism, there's no easy answers. So one of the things she was saying was like, at least this landlord, like they're better with the timing. If you say you're late, they don't like really harass you. They didn't raise her rate type thing. And I'm like, yes, but that's only because they recognize that having you pay your current rate and stay occupied in the salon is better than if they raise the rate and it's sat empty. That's pretty much it. And I think she was kind of getting there. But I think you're right. I just think it's two different forms of worker consciousness, that of a tenant versus that of a, employee type situation. But yeah, great question. Yeah. I had a comment. Wait, hold on. That I had. highlight. Oh yeah, back to that. Yes, it's real. Sadiq, go to Buckhead Toe and Nail Salon in Atlanta, and you can get that done. And Amber, to your point, I would not have allowed them to feel me like this. Listen, I found the hookah mimosa that was killing me. I will say,
Because I mean,
point,
she was having a euphoric experience.
That's what I said. I said I would be overstimulated. That's what I said. I think I might pass out.
It's too many motherfuckers touching me.
It's too much stuff. Yeah, the neck massage. But
First of all, I don't like stuff like that because they are being extra to like make it seem like a luxurious experience. There is no reason to put honey on that lady legs.
I had to get smoked like a brisket. Oh my god. Oh, and so I was just okay. So recently,
why did they put honey on her legs?
Ever,
Lord,
you said,
Lord, you can't bypass that though, because that's a valid point. What the fuck?
I just laughed so hard I snorted. I had to mute myself because.
When I'm canvassing in Atlanta, and again, I can't say this. It's all jokes because if you come to Florida, you come to Miami, the wildlife here is crazy for people who aren't from here. Iguanas falling out of trees, chickens everywhere. All that.
It's a mukbang pedicure.
Mukbang pedicure, absolutely. So my thing was, I went to Atlanta, and y'all have these carpenter bees or whatever they're called. What y'all got going on? These bees like this big on every porch I went on in my face, and people are just like, but my brother was canvassing with from Atlanta is like, oh yeah, you just get used to it. I'm like, no, I fucking don't. No. This big, like circling my head like I'm a Linus from Charlie Brown or whatever. So I'm like, this is crazy. But then when you talk about having the honey on you, no way am I walking out in the middle of Atlanta in the spring with some honey on me. No. The bees be huge, Keontae. I don't know why y'all think that's normal. And they're followed by wasps. Wasps are there too. Just, yes, I am afraid of them. I had to, oh my God, the mental strength I had to go through to knock on the doors and to not, because you're not supposed to be jumpy when you knock on people's doors. But when they in my ear, I was trying to, that's, when I'm talking to people, I'm trying to be calm because they'll definitely know I'm not from Atlanta when I'm freaking out like that. But yeah, that's what the honey made me think of. Bees are great. All right. Now we got all the environmentalists, folks. Yes. I didn't kill them.
That's fine. I'm gonna kill the ones in my house. I ain't gonna hold you. They putting a hole in my fucking carport. That motherfucker gotta go. And I love these. I just wanted to go somewhere else. I'm just trying to seal up the hole so go somewhere else.
Exactly. Stay outside.
They can't be hating. They can't be hating on the bees if they still eat meat. So
no, that's a good point. That is a good point.
So you can't be that much environmentalist.
Well, yeah. No, that's it. All these are a good point. I hate the spring. Yeah, the wasps are terrible. Oh man. Worry about the wasps. Oh, I was. Oh, don't worry. That I was worried about everything. I'm proud of myself. That was one of the most revolutionary things I've ever done. Face my fears to get the work done. The carpenter bees are more important than the honeybees. Interesting. I'm not a bee expert, so
it don't matter. The carpenter bee is still not going to be there no more. I don't understand why y'all think I'm fucking playing. I'm finna go spray that essential oil. I already ordered it, and that motherfucker finna be gone. It's some plants in the backyard. It can go pollinate them. You're not finna put a hole in my carport.
I feel you. Oh man.
I hate it for it. It'll relocate. I'm not killing it. That motherfucker gotta go though.
Oh yeah, you didn't sound like you were about to put no pesticide or anything. It sounded like you were just
no, I'm gonna spray some stuff so it goes away and it finds a new place to be. I killed a wasp too. There's a little wasp nest forming at the front of my house. I killed that too.
This is what I'm saying, Panda Ninja. I got stuck by a wasp on the toe and legit fell on the ground. I've seen grown ass folks fall on the floor in pain after a wasp sting, yo. I'm not trying to be that. So yeah, good to know. But that's
I'm not gonna harm if I was gonna harm it, I wouldn't be planting like pollinator flowers and stuff like that. I think the bees should be there to pollinate the flowers and stuff. I don't think they should be destroying the property. I don't have time and money to be fixing the holes that it's putting into my carport. It's like 3 holes right now. I ain't got time for it. It's a no for me, dog.
Sandeep says, my dad legit talks about nature being great, and then he gets a slingshot to scare away deer. He doesn't hit them directly. Don't worry. Oh, that's my parents with the ducks. The ducks down here, and they're invasive, so you're allowed to do whatever. Man, they would have frozen water bottles, those mini water bottles. They would take them.
Who has dominion on the land? Who has dominion on the land? Lord,
right?
No, I'm asking. Who has dominion? Is it them or us?
And that's why I don't be big on like killing everything. I'm just trying to get it to come away from me because I know that we have taken over the land where it's normally gonna be. I just wanted to move over just a little bit. Just move over.
I know. But listen, that's why I'm asking. Because you remember in Palestine when the white man went in the yard and said, Johnny, I'm gonna take your yard. They're like, no, you can't take my yard. He said, somebody else gonna take your yard, so I'm just gonna take your yard.
Oh my God, yes.
But what I'm saying is I wonder if there's an argument for somebody who's something, I don't know, spiritual, whatever, that like we just be trying to take their space and then, build like, I don't know. I wonder if there's an argument between
there's definitely there is, because that's in a religious, that's in Genesis. That was kind of my even when I used to like argue to justify meat, I would rely on the Bible and Genesis saying that like man has dominion, man is the highest creature. So this hierarchy that we're the highest species definitely comes from like scripture and stuff like that. Yeah, the Bible. Sorry, Amber.
I just feel like when Noah was putting them animals on the ark, I don't understand why he would put two roaches.
This is another one. This is what I'm saying. It's like, yes. Every child in Sunday school ever asked these questions. What about the animals that ate each other? What about the insects?
Why would you put two roaches on there?
Bro.
I don't know, man. The roaches had traumatized me because I've never had a roach infestation or nothing. When I moved out my old house, like I kept it sprayed up. So when I left, I went back to go clear some more stuff out a few weeks later, and there were like 6 roaches like dead on the floor because I hadn't been there. I mean, because I said, y'all not gonna take my deposit and be like, it's a bug infestation. It's not a infestation. The bugs are dead. They just came out because I left. But
Amber, I think you cut it a little bit.
What's the point? What's the reason?
Amber, one of them animals started biting your internet cord. So.
I'm screaming.
It's the bees. It's the bees.
The bees are like, nah.
It might be the bees.
Fuck that.
They might have heard they're my biggest op right now.
Listen, oh my God, Leah! If they know put rats and mice on the ark because he could let them jump. So this
listen.
There.
I didn't say that for y'all to run off. Y'all ran off into the other space.
I was about to bring it back. Hold on. So what I was going to say was about indigeneity and invasive species and things like that. So Florida is in the U.S. I think the #1 state for invasive species. And that's because people from invasive. So people from across the world bring animals that are not from here. Anacondas would be one of the main ones. They are not native to Florida. They are apex predators, and so they compete with other apex predators like alligators and crocodiles that are natural to here. And so it's actually become a problem because they are so good at blending in, disappearing, reproducing that they have now taken the ecosystem and threw it out of whack. And so it becomes on us to decide how do we balance that ecosystem. Obviously, there's a hunting thing, but they talk about being compassionate because some people, Florida just lets you kill. Same with the ducks, right? So someone said there's a story of someone murder stomping a duck. Yeah, that kind of sick stuff. Technically, you're not supposed to do that, but you can kill these animals. But you have people who are like shooting anacondas in the head and stuff, rather than what we would want to do, which is capture, compassionate release, that kind of thing. So I say the same thing because my revolutionary comrade, young brother Jesus, went to arguing with me about the rats. And he was just saying, like, he's in New York and he's like, look, they were brought over here, like in shipping cargo, the same way fire ants were brought to Florida through like shipping. And so he was like, they were kind of forced over here. They live in the environment that they were brought into, and it's not really their fault. So he was saying we have to live
even more.
That's what so listen, it challenges me like revolutionary things should, like veganism does, like all of these things, like our hair journey does. It challenges us, but I was like, I get your point. the rats did not choose to be over here. They did not choose to have an infrastructure in capitalist hell that is terrible and allows them to spread disease. So
We didn't
if
choose
we're
this
being
either,
real,
though.
that was his point. Thank you, Amber. So that was how he made the connection
That
between
motherfucking rat
animals.
gotta go, buddy.
He was making the connection between animals and colonized people, or animals and Africans, like this idea that you were brought over, you weren't allowed. We actually used to stay in the stables where animals, some enslaved Africans literally lived next to horses. So this whole thing about black people being afraid of nature, yes, Diallo actually taught me about this, showing a documentary that black people invented a lot of the care that we use for horses in this country, because they actually sometimes were sleeping in stables and stuff next to these creatures and dealing with injuries that would come from like a horse kicking them and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. So when we get just like now we're huddled into the cities, you know, forced out of our land. So now we have a bunch of black people who are afraid of nature, who don't know how to farm, when 2 generations ago, that was a vast majority of black people, as Claudia Jones teaches us, right? So that's our land of playing Geechee.
Yeah, I like that. That's how you boom.
You did that.
We back.
No, I'll always be in support of killing the rats, because Memphis, I don't know if it's like a southern.
Amber went right back. Amber said, nah. Amber said, but I'm killing them though.
Hey, let's do it over. Y'all know how when y'all land on a particular type of country and the plane land the right way and everybody do the clap? We did that clap for Lord, because he did land the plane. But I'm just saying, what if, Amber, what if we are the people who are colonizing, taking in the same conditions? Yeah, we put in the animals in. I'm just saying, what if? And you talk
I'm willing to accept the harm that we as people caused by building on the land that the animals wanted to be on. But rats are not the same thing. Like Laura said, they were brought here. Also, Memphis specifically, and like the South, but Memphis specifically has like a lot of rats. Like there's something with the makeup of, let's say, like the water and some other stuff, that there's a lot of rats here, and they're not mice. And everybody thinks they're mice, and they're rats. And they be infesting people's houses, and they have to come get them out. Like I have friends who had to like get rats taken out. I've had to kill a rat before at my mom's house when she, you know, had an attic and stuff. It's too much, and they gotta go. I feel like unless you're out here killing little rats and rat families, Geechee, like I had to, then you haven't experienced the pain that I was.
Well, I have, and my brother worked for pest control, so you know, we got a little experience. It was not a fun experience killing a rat, I will say.
It wasn't a fun experience at all.
Clean up is gross. The capture is terrifying for the whole, you know. So
I had just put it on a little glue trap and put it in a bag. I wasn't doing all that extra. I wasn't cutting heads off or nothing. I wasn't doing nothing crazy.
No,
but
I had caught it in a pail, so I couldn't get it outside. It was bad times. Anyway,
listen, it's atrocious.
I'm traumatized.
I done caught whole families, man. So I understand, man.
See, this is what I'm saying. Celebrate Kim. You're starting to cycle over again, and then you say snakes are needed. And then we had the anacondas, and this is what I'm saying. Humans, you're right, Geechee. We need to harmonize with nature. We cannot be experimented like this. That's actually what did happen with a lot of invasive species in Florida. A lot of people bring them as exotic pets from South Asia, from all sorts of tropical regions, and they're like, "This Florida, this shit kind of nice," and then they get set up here.
Listen. I know we're gonna keep bringing this back to Claudia Jones. I text in the chat that I was on a posthumous date with Claudia Jones one time. When I was at Highgate, I spent like 5 or 6 hours at her grave. Wow. I helped people clean off the grave. I was just kicking it, right? And literally, when you go into Highgate, there's a big ass Marx bus, big ass head, big Marx, and everybody's standing up at Marx. Everybody's standing in line to look at Mark's grave. And literally to the left of Mark's is Claudia Jones' grave. Right? And I'm up there cleaning it off, and the white people come over there and say, "What's over here? Who's that over there?" I was like, "Oh, this, you know how radical this guy was. She was even more radical than him." It was them. And so one day there's gonna be an animal. There's gonna be an animal buried to the left of all of us.
All of it's gonna be one animal that started the revolution. Man. I think we should get into some news, but I did want to highlight Ashy Knuckles. Yeah, so that's what you're saying, and that's Claudia Jones outlines our history as agricultural workers, and then industrial. As a farmer, this is what I work with Africans on. We need to reintroduce ourselves to our environment as capitalism has forced us to be alienated from it. Absolutely, and that's why so many community gardens programs are proliferating in our neighborhoods. We're trying to get familiar with that. But it is an irony to have to kind of relearn something that already was indigenous knowledge for such a long time. But that was intentional. I'll close with this before we can maybe hop into some news. A lot of people in Florida talking about communal trauma, talk about the citrus trees that we used to have. And people in their yards, in the projects even, there were all sorts of plants, fruits, people were growing things, and the state, apparently because of blight or something like that, came and lifted up all the citrus trees throughout Florida. And so you'll ask a lot of people about this, and many of them will tell you like, oh yeah, I used to have an orange tree and then they got rid of it and blah, blah, blah. And they were saying they were going to plant it back, never put them back. So that is intentional. Like, that knowledge is taken from us, because instead of growing up, taking care of your orange tree in your front yard, all you got is now concrete, or what people have talked about with urban planning, male trees, which are causing lots of issues with pollen and increasing people's allergies and stuff. But they look good type thing. So
yeah, I'm so excited because we're going to plant 50 female trees for Earth Day this year.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Nice. I wish that would be a great initiative in Florida to replant some of these citrus trees. That got me thinking. Yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. It is past top of the hour. Welcome, Friday Remix Morning Show. As always, news, stories, glossary in the show description if you want to see what we're about to talk about, follow up on any details. But that being said, let us hop into hold on, some news. All right. So Josh in the chat laced us with some stories. I also wanted to give Josh some credit because we had the 5th anniversary celebration of BLM, and we're talking about all the people who make this platform what it is. And as we say, it's the infamous chat, but also the people who come from the chat start volunteering. So Josh, wanted to give you a shout out. Thank you for what you do. Power to the people. Proud Socialist post. Another warehouse fire has broken out, this time in Compton, California. This is the 7th warehouse fire in this past week alone. Wow. Okay. Let's see what's going on.
Boy, it
They said now the warehouse is on fire.
We don't know what's burning inside the structure quite yet. It comes back at 2420 North Alameda in Compton. Compton Fire, LA County firefighters really just trying to assess what they have right now and see if they can get around this. As you can tell, there's going to be some access issues, and this is really starting to take off. I want to open up just real quick and give you a live shot of this, or a wide shot, I should say. Now, fortunately, most of the smoke is going straight up in the air into the atmosphere. That is great news because we don't know what's burning. We don't know if there might be chemicals inside this structure, and so you just don't know. But this is an industrial area, and this fire is completely consuming at least one portion of that building. And as you can tell, it's going to be an issue to try and get around this and put it out. They're going to surround the ground, if you will. They're just trying to get around the structure and get as much water on it. But access is certainly an issue. It's right off of Alameda to the east side of Alameda. Alameda is really not affected. You can still get by on Alameda, so it's not a traffic issue at the moment. Their sky map gives you a good idea exactly where this fire lays out, but they're really just trying to decide exactly how they're going to try and get a handle on this thing. And Philip and Colleen, as you can tell, it is just taking off right now. It's erupting.
Okay.
Magnesium?
Is there any explanation? Why do you say magnesium? Because of the color of the flame?
No, it was saying that the fire rips through Compton commercial building that houses magnesium.
Ooh, everybody was in that whole knockout, wasn't it?
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what the cause of this is. So that would be my question, but them saying it's going straight up and not affecting the surrounding area is interesting. That's a point. I mean, if this is similar, if this is a pattern related to what we saw last week, what we covered last week with the workers saying,
I think niggas are setting warehouses on fire. I think they're sick of the warehouse industrial complex. And honestly, Memphis should be next. We got like 85 million over here. You want to come? I ain't gonna do it, but somebody should.
Hey man, if this is a pattern, if this is not just random accident, power to the people, as we could say. Okay, and then Amber, I see you have a story in the chat. Did you want to cover the threads or the AP article next?
I want to put up the AP article first.
Got you. All right, I got it up. All right, so again, people setting warehouses on fire. Pay them enough to live. They already told you how to stop it. So these are their demands. We'll see. All right, next story we got here. Oof. Okay. A little heavy. Hold on. Let me switch. So, you want to announce this one, Amber?
Yeah, I want to talk about it because I, along with I think a lot of other women, Black women, especially yesterday, were feeling an intense heaviness around the level of femicide that we're seeing. There was an Instagram, popular Instagram influencer, Ashley J, who people are assuming was killed by her white partner in Tanzania. Of course, Nancy, how do you say her last name, Lorick? Medier, who was murdered by her husband. And now Justin Fairfax, who has killed his wife, he was separated from. They were going through a divorce and then killed himself. And I'm increasingly concerned around the way that men are reacting, along with the whole Grape Academy thing that went viral. I think that I'm never surprised that that's what white men are doing to their spouses, because that's how white men treat anybody. I don't know if folks have heard about the whole Grape Academy thing, but it's about folks making sleep content of them drugging their wives and then having sex with them and filming it. And it's heavily used by white men. So that was announced a few days ago. And then afterwards, yesterday, was Justin Fairfax killing his wife and himself. And the response to it as well was also extremely alarming. I think it shows what Black folks, especially Black bougie folks who are Greek, think of people who are in fraternities and the way they approach things. I saw so many people posting about how they knew him and they just felt so bad that he felt like he had to take his life. No mention of his wife that he murdered. No mention of his 2 children who were in the house when he murdered his wife and himself. All this focus on him as an alpha, all these alphas posting about how they knew him and they're just so sad that he's gone. And all the comments are Black women having to remind them that he murdered his wife and himself. And to me, all of the common sense flies out the window with a lot of folks who are Greek, especially Black men. They have this allegiance to each other, this strong allegiance where they don't call folks out when they're wrong. And even when someone has violently committed a crime, after also having grape allegations that were found to be legitimate, after he also tried to ruin his wife's life, he filed complaints against her for domestic abuse that she had to then disprove because she has cameras in her house, and then had just gotten those dismissed. And then he had 2 weeks left to move out of his house because he was in the family home, causing damage, drinking, being disruptive. Then he murders her. And the response to it has been the most, if I didn't know good Black men, I would definitely see how folks be turning on people. If I didn't know good Black men that do care about people, yesterday would have been a very much a 13th reason for me too. I saw so many people who were like, I'm done. Like they were giving up because of the way people were responding to this. And I'm not talking about regular alpha niggas. I'm talking about famous people, famous folks, famous politicians, the Virginia U.S. attorney talking about we can't, make a decision ahead of time. We have to let the process play out. We can't just assume someone is guilty. Meanwhile, this nigga's on camera murdering his wife. The cameras in his home and his children captured him killing his wife and killing himself. But you got people saying, well, we can't just say that that's what happened. We can't just, automatically assume. does video evidence not matter anymore, or like what? I don't understand. And I see exactly why folks who are not Greek also talk about how Greek lifestyle creates this type of allegiance that can be very dangerous. Because I have seen way too many people, I mean, really only alphas, talking about this man. Like they are so sad, they torn up at what's happened, him losing his life, not even mentioning that he killed himself and killed his wife. I just can't believe he gone because he killed his wife and himself. Like just the fact that no one is willing to mention that is so disgusting to me. And I want to make sure we talked about it because I want to make sure people knew that this was not okay. And I put another link in there because they chewing Roland Martin ass up on Threads right now, and he deserves it. He's fucking insane. His response to this was wild.
So I'm going to share the Threads tab now. I think this is truly the most disturbing responses I've seen from a public figure on violence. So this is him sharing a picture of the lieutenant governor and the lieutenant governor's wife. So these were people who were close.
And it's just like a montage of pictures of him and Justin Fairfax.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but if someone murdered their wife and themselves on camera, I wouldn't be posting pictures with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go back to that, the Roland Martin, what was he saying?
I don't think we have his statements, just pictures of him with this person.
There's the alpha. On the post, something on the post. It was
let me check. I'll leave. Hold on. This is one of the most disturbing responses I've ever seen from a public figure on domestic violence.
Oh, okay. So him posting the pictures was his response, but there's no.
Yeah, just like
there's a post, but then he took his Instagram or something down, and I can only find like his Threads account right now. But I do have the post right here. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah,
what he said.
Awesome. Yeah,
okay. It says he posted those pictures and he said, "Today's Roland Martin Unfiltered is going to be very difficult. I knew Justin and his wife, Dr. Serena Fairfax. I was simply stunned this morning when hearing the devastating news of the murder-suicide. Justin was my Alpha Phi Alpha brother and in the same Sigma Pi fraternity chapter, Beta Nu. Last year, Serena texted me to tell me that she recommended Norfolk State University have me as their commencement speaker, and I was saddened when they picked someone else." Okay. Serena, hold on. Let me get the girl out the screen. Okay. Serena was a dentist by profession, was an accomplished woman in her own right, and I was personally aware of how devastated Justin was about the sexual assault allegations made against him when he was, hold on, y'all. When he was 48 hours away from becoming governor of Virginia. And I'm reading this from a video and this girl picture in the way, so I'm trying to read around her. Hold on.
Gotcha.
We often texted but did not see each other last year. I am so saddened for their two children. They are now left without a mom and dad and now have to carry the emotional toll of Justin's actions. Domestic violence is real and so is mental health. I have booked two black male mental health experts to speak on this tonight. Please be in prayer for those kids, Serena's family, and Justin's. And this tragedy has altered the live stream for today.
My goodness.
Never mentioning that he murdered his wife, humanizing him, making multiple attempts to humanize him, and then bringing up his wife and saying he's upset that she recommended him and he didn't get something. But never mentioning what Justin has done and how, his political career was ruined by sexual assault allegations, even though the allegations were found to be real.
Of course.
This shit is insane to me. And so now he didn't deactivated his Instagram. I'm finna find the other comments on Threads and send them to you, Lord, because I had to go through Threads only because he didn't deactivate his Instagram.
Sure, go ahead. And Geechee.
Yeah, so I probably got a question, but before, because I was trying to figure out, well, what was Roland doing? This is frat brother and the frat is telling him to do this? And because I'm thinking about like the political opportunism that Roland and, and whatever. And then I'm thinking about the average person who are probably dealing with a situation like this, right? And I'm only going to say this. I probably shared, I don't know if I ever shared this publicly, but like I had so many, too many family members that took their lives. And one of them was a murder-suicide. And I mean, it was the most devastating thing in the world. And at a funeral where both of those people are at, my aunt and my uncle, I have my uncle, my family side, right, at the funeral, next to another casket with my aunt, her family side. And like, I mean, it's everything from old my grandmother, whatever. And the whole time I'm hurting so mad that I'm with this side. Like I'm with I'm like on the principle on how everything happened. I'm like, if they went up, if this thing went up into a fight, like I would feel like I would be defending my aunt's family against my own family.
Because you're saying the guy was the one who killed your aunt,
My uncle killed my aunt, and my uncle is my uncle.
and they shouldn't have had the funerals together. That's dangerous.
No, but what I'm saying, and this is why I'm asking that, because whenever we're saying people are responding to this situation, whether it's on social media or in real life, like I'm thinking about what's behind people's response. Like even with Roland, like, yeah, that's a political person. Roland's probably gonna be loyal to his frat brother, the Democratic Party, whoever they talking about. He's a politician. What Roland is doing what Roland do as a tool.
Yeah.
But in people's personal lives, when people are trying to, like, maybe somebody was like, the person was dealing with this thing, and grandma needs to not see her baby put. Again, I think the complexities of why people making decisions, you kind of like, I don't know that you always have the context in the conversation, but I'm curious to from you, Amber, like when you saying you were hearing people responses, you're talking about online, you're talking about and I guess in person, but where do you think these things are coming from? You think it's
I'm seeing a lot of it online. I think that I think the response is also way more compounded and way more impactful on me, because it wasn't just Serena who was killed. There have been 7 Black women murdered this week. It's Friday. There have been 7 Black women murdered by their partners this week by men.
Yep.
And so that's a lot of violence and like grief for me personally, but also like I'm seeing a lot of Black women really struggling with this right now. And I'm struggling with that. And I also, like, I said earlier, if I didn't know good Black men, I would be on a war page right now. Like, I understand why people feel that way. And seeing Roland's response, I don't know if y'all knew this, but I had to go on his show last week to talk about voter suppression in Tennessee, because I wrote an op-ed about a Voting Rights Act bill that I wrote and about voter legislation that we got passed here. I am disgusted that I had to be on that fucking show now. Like, I don't want to be tagged and shit by him. That nigga's a fucking psychopath. I think anybody who can make a post saying they're mad that somebody who was murdered didn't get him a keynote speaker position and then write all these loving things about their partner who murdered them is fucking crazy. He needs to be committed. And I'm trying to calm down because I don't want to cry. I'm really getting upset because the level of violence of 7 Black women being murdered by their partners, and then you got this nigga with a national platform talking about how I'm just so sad that my friend died and I pray for their children. And I'm so upset that I didn't get this speaking gig that his wife texted me about getting when she was murdered. Like, what is wrong with you? And I think that's why he deactivated his Instagram. All I'm seeing on Threads is people divesting from Roland Martin as a show, as a person, as they should be. I think that he is showing his true colors. He has always done some questionable things. And I also say, when I was on his show, in the background, he was yelling at them staff members because the sound wasn't right. He was so rude to them. He was cussing them out. It was making me so uncomfortable. I'm already nervous that I have to get on here and speak because I'm speaking for my organization, for my job. And you yelling at these people, and I have to remain calm to be able to get out the talking points and explain like the work that we're doing here. But you're a horrible person. Like, I thought he was a bad person before, but after seeing this, he's a horrible person. Like, who says something like that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with
yeah. First, We are people, right? I know me, you, Amber, Geechee, we talk, and so we try and maintain relationships. On screen, we're reacting to this kind of stuff that we've also had to deal with personally. So I had a negative reaction to this as well. I was trying to breathe and calm down. So I just want to acknowledge that Geechee, you described something super traumatic. Amber, I completely feel you. Rage and wanting to cry are really common reactions for me as well. I am trying to think through. So my initial reaction, unfortunately, was I'm glad the kids survived, because the immediate thought I was thinking was that and usually in those situations, they take the wife and the children as well.
Because the white people kill their whole families.
Exactly. And the Black people who get to this point too. So we were talking about it earlier. I want to just get you first, like the family reactions, how you work through it as a family is deeply relational. It's about what we talked about earlier, though we were kind of joking about. We were talking about something pretty traumatic. Like our hair journey is a product of colonialism, right? So when we're always talking about this, it's really a deeper system, as you said with Claudia Jones. So with families, it's having those conversations about, well, what signs did we see? What parts of the conversation, like our mom saying this didn't happen, are we ignoring that led to this kind of event? And how, as a family, are we going to be honest about this? This is why I'm super adamant when you like Black Men Build's work, because it's for the next generation for me. It is for our ancestors and what they went through and how they got us here, but it's also like it is pain for me as an educator when I see youth going through the same exact shit I went through. So I work with the Alphas this week, Amber. I just did a presentation with them, and the co-founders of Black Men Builder Alphas. And then the question becomes again, why did you all create a separate organization if Alpha was not able to do that very thing that you claim it was meant to do? So I just wanted to start there, like the emotional element of it, how common this is, the pattern, and then take it to what we do, political analysis, the system. So everything you said, Amber, makes perfect sense to me because of patriarchy, the history of patriarchy, why men think that women are their property, and if women are your property, then children are your property. So your life is not your own. Instead, you're taking all of your property with you. That is the psychology here. So when I'm tracing it, it makes sense. Then I asked, okay, what are the organizations? What are these bourgeois cultural institutions that you're talking about? People in the chat are always talking about Greek life, right? That was my first question. Are we Greek? Huh? We're Africans. So why are we calling ourselves Greek? That's a really bizarre thing. We're already starting from a fucked up colonial standpoint, right? From there, we're not Greek. We're modeling ourselves after white Pan-Hellenic organizations so that we can have, something similar in our institutions. We'll always say, yeah, we did our own thing with it, but that's where we're starting. What was Greek society like? Greek society was patriarchal. Greek society was a slave-based society. Greek philosophers had theories that women were inherently inferior and that they were more like animals in terms of their reasoning. And so if that is the origin and you are calling yourself that is the ideology that is going to be embedded in everything you do. And so everything you describe, Amber, makes perfect sense to me. Rape culture is super common in white fraternities. So of course, if Black people are modeling themselves after that, that is going to be what exists in these spaces. And then I'm sorry, just real quick, because I'm going to talk about the alphas. There's this ideological struggle about what you exist to do. So right now I'm dealing with FIU story that we might have covered before, but just to bring it up, there was a racist group chat by the college Republicans. They said the N-word 400 times, named it after a Nazi group, all of that. Now this was on FIU's campus, where another former lieutenant governor, was installed by Ron DeSantis. And so this is what's going on their campus, racist groups. And so when I get there, I'm talking to the alphas, I'm like, it's not usually just this one thing. There's an entire culture here. So what are you talking about? So they're telling me about all of these white Greek orgs that are doing the same shit I saw when I was on campus. They're putting up Confederate flags in front of their, dorm rooms. That's what I was saying. Or in front of their frat houses, not getting punished for it. Administration looks the other way, pretends like it's not a thing. So what do these alphas tell me? They tell me that the white boys are screaming the N-word, that racist things are going on in the Pan-Hellenic councils, and the school is singing and not doing anything. That they tried to go party.
They're going to blame everybody.
And some white boys came over and said they're playing nigger music, and then ran into the room to make sure everyone can hear it and said the same thing and are unpunished by administration. So this is the type of model that exists that Black people are then being socialized into, right? So I'm talking to the alphas. That's that. We can argue that the ideology, that there are some origins that are kind of radical. So I'm going to show a little bit of that presentation. I was trying to explain with organizing, there's a tradition. And so when I talked to those alpha brothers, I was saying, well, two of our co-founders, Ace and Phil, were alphas, right? He also gave me, of course, Martin Luther King Jr. was an alpha. There's a discussion about the founder of the alpha saying we must fight till hell freezes over and then fight on the ice, right? This is one element of that tradition. And so there are always radical strains to a tradition, but generally though, the Rolands of the world, right? These black bougie comprador folks, that's also the tradition. And those things are always at war within these organizations. And I would say because of their origins, because of that contradiction of them in Greek, they're always going to trend toward the wrong direction. So everything you said makes sense to me, Amber, but this is why I don't tolerate that. So being a revolutionary is a complete transformation, political, economic, social. So all of these little things gave me away. All these little things give it away to me. So the same thing you described with Roland, right? The same thing you described with Grape Academy is when you watch the Diddy documentary, the first thing he talks about is doing that. The Grape Academy and putting it on a screen and airing it for people at his parties. So Diddy, to me, looks like a white man. That's exactly these exact cracker colonizers.
Which is all rooted out of misogyny because they're so afraid of appearing weak that they have to like find ways to take control of women.
Exactly. And I'm going to land it here so we can just have more convo. But that was so with Mtume, he talks about Harvey Weinstein, right? The Hollywood exec who assaulted many women and all of those things, a big part of the Me Too movement, right? When Mtume says his first experience with Harvey Weinstein, it was on a set. And he was like, this dude abuses his workers. So before, of course, these things are always related. Of course, if you're a transphobe, this is why everyone says this, misogynists make great informants, which we talked about on the show, Kichi. Because if you're a transphobe, that means that all sorts of other oppressive ideologies are something that you'd be down for. So if you are a capitalist, like Roland is, like Jared goes to war with Roland over, then of course you're okay with other exploitative ideologies. Of course you're okay with patriarchy. Of course you're okay with rape culture. So you saying that Roland mistreats his workers, and that is your first experience with this dude, is just abusing his employees, is exactly what Mtume described about Harvey Weinstein, a capitalist who abuses his workers. And so then, of course, all of those things follow. So I just wanted to say that it does not surprise me that Roland is this way, because he is in this Greek life thing, because he's bougie, because he is a self-proclaimed capitalist. All of the other patriarchal, probably homophobic and transphobic ideologies accompany that. So that's my,
So again, I know that there's two things happening. There's this political conversation around the media responses to what Amber is talking about, and then there's the cellular your feelings in response to this thing. And I know we probably can do better on the analytical political side and less satisfactory on this side. But I want for us to hold some type of space for all of us who are experiencing the same thing. And again, I think this is why organizations like Black Men Build are around, and other organizations who are able to connect dots to people, but also put people in motion to actually solve the thing that we all are trying to navigate. I want to add something. So I don't know who has it, and I know it's coming out, but there's going to be some type of research or evidence or whatever about who the alpha men have been in society and what the fuck they got going on. I don't know. And I met Roland too, right? I met Roland through somebody I met in Lynchburg, Virginia, who, if anybody's seen me when I used to wear ascots, like
Amber, why did you break? You broke first. No, I was gonna hold it.
This is why I wasn't really wearing it. I was
Nigga, what?
Chill out. So
no, you chill out.
No, one of my mentors used to make ascots, hand make them, and I was like, "Oh, this is dope! I'm gonna start wearing ascots and shit." And anyway, that mentor was out. He was an alpha, and he connected me. I guess he was trying to recruit me in the in the, I don't know, whenever you not in school and you, what is it, post grad? What is it?
Grad chapter.
Yeah. I don't know. But he was like, he introduced me to people in the city, whatever. And then there was a convention in Charlotte. And then I was in Charlotte already. He was like, oh, you can come through and hang out, whatever. I went there. Roland is in there. And the same way you say Roland is talking to people, like that nigga like is walking around like he's fucking God. And like peasants. And like that nigga almost said peasants one time. And like somebody tried to shake his hand. He was like, touch his hand. Like, and I was like, who the fuck? Like, but anyway. On top of that, because I was about to move to Baltimore, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in the school system trying to do boom, 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 boom," and they was like, "I know this one person who's really big in the whole DMV area, boom, boom, boom," and they would whatever. Man, them people, I don't know who got the juice, who got the stories or whatever, but there's gonna be something that come out about whoever the fuck them people is and what they're doing and why they're doing. If people already know, I'm pretty sure there's books are already kind of talk about the role of that group that he's loyal to and how it's complicit with Democratic Party and how they respond to radicals at the period of time. But he's just an extension of that shit and everything that he do.
Of course, yeah. It's ideology. It's a class position. There's a black bourgeois within our community, which makes perfect sense. And Dr. King, so this is my point. While I want to radicalize the alphas, you got to work whatever or we have, right? We talk about that all the time. So if you don't have something, you got to join something, you got to make a formation happen. So if this is what exists that's able to mobilize on campus, cool, we got to move here. But organizations have structure. Organizations have leadership, right? And so that is not just something like I'm talking to these youth and I'm like, if you get ready to get active, you might have to be ready for national to say no. And that's okay. I mean, that happened with the NAACP, when they had kind of their bougie leadership that would push back on these things. So it makes sense to me when we do the sociological profiles of these people. When you just ask, hey, why are you here? A lot of people are just there for brotherhood and fellowship. But when we talk about culture, you need a revolutionary culture. Otherwise, it's just going to be you're there chilling. And then you get blindsided. Because what I told them is like, yes, it's not fair. If you get sold like the white boys that you're on campus to just have a good time, party, drink, get your degree, meet somebody who can network you and get you a job, right? Then that's cool. And that's the psychology that some of them have. Yes, they'll add the tradition. Yes, they'll put some, black excellence in there. But that's your psychology, cool. But you're going to get smacked out of that when you realize you're not these white boys, when you realize you have to be organized. And that's why I was telling them, like, I'm proud of y'all. When I was in college, I wasn't at y'all's level. I was not like aware. I wasn't linking up, that kind of thing on a Tuesday during finals. But you have to do that because this is the society you're living with. You don't get to work around these campuses like that. It wasn't built for you. The president of the school is making money off Alligator Alcatraz. Right. This is a school. This is what you're dealing with. And as always, just they're students. They're figuring out. Some of them work, with the office or whatever. And they're like, yeah, the president is just. It's like what Amber said. Little signs like, oh, the president is kind of an asshole. The president kind of always, treats me weird. The president kind of always like looks away from me or like and that's just why is that happening? All of these things. So yeah, I mean, all of these things. If we look to the black bourgeoisie, the Black Misleadership class, this is the incubator for the Black Misleadership class. But to bring it back, Amber, to the point about femicide, that is a cultural thing, as you're saying. Like, why is this okay? Because that is the culture that is accepted. The idea that you protect your brothers across all things, that's cop shit. That's police shit. That's thin blue line. That's exactly what that is. It's the same technologies and tools of our colonizer being reflected back to us. And so what is the early black bourgeoisie class? Those were the overseers. Those were the ones on the plantation who made sure you worked when massa wasn't looking. And so if that's the trajectory you're being brought into, even if you don't know it, you have to find some sort of way to break that. And I think that's what we're always discussing in these conversations is how do we have the power to find the power to do that? How do we find the, social emotional skills like on our internal level to do that? Because It's just sad, and it's not new, unfortunately. This is like Geechee, I had this discussion because a lot of people like to deny patriarchy's evolution in our community and that it ever existed. So there's actually in one of these books, a Black feminist book, a Gullah Geechee like hymn from like 100 years ago, where they're basically talking about oppression from their men in the Geechee community. And again, I'm asking like, well, where did that come from? All of those things, but they're literally singing about like, oh, I get beat all day by boss, and then I come home and then my man beats me, and blah blah. Just like this is ridiculous. This is 100-something years ago. So if we haven't broken free, it's gonna look like the same thing, just in 2026. You know.
Yeah. So
I did find the post. Oh, go ahead, Geechee.
Really quickly, I think it's important to Lorik's point, and to take it back to my love, Claudia Jones. 111 years ago, what Lorik was just saying about the Gullah woman, which is, women across the African diaspora, the ones who wasn't brought into Sugar Land, which is another conversation that we might be having. So the Sugar Land, people were brought into Sugar Land, and then people was brought into Charleston. But Claudia in 1949 is the end to neglect of the problem of the Negro woman.
Mm-hmm.
So everything the Lord said, if you got this book, Beyond Containment, you should check that article. I mean, that passage out.
Oh, Geechee read that. I see them underlines.
I reread it. I reread it because she just been snapping. And one says like she was trying to organize the mamas.
Yep. No, that text is amazing. I've also mentioned Intro to Afro-American Studies before, that when they talk about the Black family, just like Engels has his, the family and property. If we want to study white patriarchy, it's important to read that. There's the Intro to Afro-American Studies chapter on the Black family, and they talk about the ways capitalism introduced patriarchy into our family life, into our structures. One of the ways was that when you got forced off the plantation, you need larger families to tend the land. That's just what happens naturally. And so when they were talking about who gets the deed, who got to sign off with massa to say, hey, this is my land, it would be the man of the house. So literally patriarchy being installed by capitalism, by colonialism onto our people, because over time you're associated with, okay, well then the man owns the property, then the man does this, and then you can just see how that develops, right? It makes perfect sense how we get from point A to point B, how we have communal structures, and then they introduce marriage and they say, oh, we only respect you if you do this. And now we have in 2-parent household conversations when we were literally picking up everybody's family on the plantation, right? So we get a psychological confusion over time. But Claudia Jones is really excellent with that. I love Dr. CBS when she explains Claudia Jones and the difference between sort of Kimberly Crenshaw articulated liberal feminist intersectionality, and then what a revolutionary says about the intersections of oppression. And what I appreciate about Claudia Jones, she was in a party, in a revolutionary organization. Actually, triple oppression was articulated by her comrade, Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, a white woman. So although that article comes from Claudia Jones earlier in the Communist Party, it had been discussed by either white comrades. This was the white comrade who Claudia Jones was incarcerated with, and who cried because back in the day, prisons were still segregated and they actually weren't allowed to stay in the same cell. And she used to cry about that. I think Claudia Jones even got put with the men sometimes. So all of this is the history of intersectionality. Sojourner Truth talks about it, talking about working, talking about being enslaved, right? That is where intersectionality comes from. But Claudia Jones says capitalism, patriarchy, all of these things come from imperialism. She gives a root to it, a root explanation. When you read Kimberly Crenshaw's articulation of intersectionality about Black women in the legal field and discrimination cases and all of that, there's no root explanation. She doesn't explain why are there Black womanhood and race and all these things intersecting. It's just a descriptive. It's just like, this is happening. And then we get all these privileged discourse and that kind of thing. That's where we get confused. Claudia Jones says, this is happening because something was done to you, because you have not defeated imperialism yet. And that's why I see the strength of her analysis. It's also very material. It's not vibes and stuff. She's literally going to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and saying, which I had my students do, which my comrades have done. This is actually part of Black Men Builds PE, that exact article. How many of the millions of Black women, 2 million Black women are in this country, what did they do for work? And she breaks it down. She says 40% were agricultural workers. This many were domestic workers. There's like a total number of nurses and librarians that we had at the time. It's like double-digit lawyers for Black women. And this is in the 1940s. So again, of course, it makes sense that we're going to have all these sororities that want Black excellence and that want to train all these lawyers, because if you go into 1949, you had like 16 Black women lawyers in the entire country. So this is why I appreciate her analysis, because it's like, I can look at this, I can go to my grandma and be like, oh, what happened when our family moved from Mississippi? What was that about? What job did you do when you first got to Chicago? That kind of thing. And when she describes it, obviously, horrible stuff comes out about, what she experienced, what my aunties experienced, all of that. But all of that is explained by what was done to our people. So that's why I'll land that one. But love that. What's the book you're reading, Geechee? Shirley asked.
This is Claudia Jones, Beyond Containment by Dr. C.B.D. Carol Boyce Davies.
Carol Boyce Davies. Yes. FIU professor.
I was trying to find that little article, like when she was saying something around, she said this, and then she was like responding to laying the line, but also just like dismissing the concept of gender wars or whatever. But then there was a part, I think when you was talking about, she says she was actually trying to organize the also the Communist Party into understanding this is like the missing link. Again, left the marks. The missing link of all the shit y'all talk about. How the fuck you gonna do this without Black women? And so like she was just but that's
what's the name of the book that we marked up, Geechee? I want one. I'm gonna have to order myself though, because you'll never send it.
Jones Beyond Containment. Yeah, Organized Fight Win, which Sadiq mentioned yesterday, is really dope too. And then Left of Karl Marx, also by Dr. CBD, which goes into her life. And
Beyond Containment.
Beyond Containment. Yeah, I can send you a PDF too. Great.
Yeah, send me a PDF too.
And what she talks about in Organized Fight Win as well, which is dope. Yeah, with the books. Organized Fight Win is dope because it goes through like labor reports of like Black women communist organizing, and you see what they're talking about. Bro, one of the best pieces. Oh, I probably got that shit. Hold on, y'all. I definitely got this shit on. Here we go. Right here, of course. I got to change my blurred background. Organized Fight Win.
Also, I recommend 1804 Books Collection. Oh, cool. Okay.
There's one where, oh man, this is one of my favorite ones to illustrate everything we've been talking about. It's The Bronx Slave Market by Ella Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Marvell Cook. And they talk about labor organizing of domestics. They talk about how women used to force other women off the block if they would try and charge too low, so that they could keep the floor of their wages high. Literally, the most radical labor organizing happening with Black women on the block being taken into these white women's homes to work. And she talks again, what we talked about earlier, sexual assault. A comment, they just said it. A lot of our Black communists say this. It is a basic labor hazard for Black women, with sexual assault by the master or any of his family, his cousins, his uncle, all of that, right? So this talks about, how do we fight back? How did these women organize? How did they say, no, we're not going to go for 15 cents on the dollar today. I need a quarter if I want to clean your house, Miss Ann. That kind of thing. And then how did they train newer organizers, new women who are being exploited and coming into that work? And all they were asking for was support, of course, from the Communist Party, from the men. And did they get that? No. And that is the problem. That is why we're still stuck. So Claudia Jones is very to the left of Karl Marx, thankfully, because they realize this is a living legend and she deserves that kind of honoring when she passes. But the history of Claudia Jones' organizing in the UK is that she tried to work with the white Communist Party and the crackers said no. And she was the best one, like the best damn organizer y'all have, and y'all said no, which is crazy. So that history is just very important to me. And back to, again, where our community might have been able to change and figure that out. Claudia Jones should have been sent back to her home country. She should have been sent back to Trinidad. But the State Department said, hell no. We're not gonna let you go there and organize your people on the island. No fucking way. So they sent her to Cracker Town. That's how that happened.
But Brixton.
I think about that history. What if Claudia Jones had been sent back to Trinidad? What if Malcolm X, who was supposed to meet Claudia Jones, actually got to see him when she went to London? Because there's a photo, one of my favorites, I'm gonna find it, of Malcolm X and Claudia Jones and Malcolm passed around the same time, unfortunately.
You're making a better point than me, because what I was about to say, and maybe you already know this, but when she went back to London, the carnival in London was started because of her.
Of course. I always ask people, that's easy PE. Who started carnival?
Really?
Yeah. Claudia started the carnival there. She brought Mighty Sparrow there and everything. But if you go to the carnival today versus what she did, that motherfucker is depoliticized. And I did it for a fact. Nobody even know who the fuck she is.
Yep.
I asked people and they died. Who the fuck is that? I was like, you really don't know who?
We got to find the video. I'm gonna find it right now. It's not that long, actually. We could play the intro. This is what I was talking about. Look, guess who? Guess who got Claudia Jones right there?
Jones.
Malcolm X. And they never got to meet. That's one of those big, like, what if John Brown and Harriet Tubman had hooked up at Harper's Ferry? What if Malcolm had met Claudia Jones? And then I wouldn't have to debate all these idiots about he wasn't a socialist. Malcolm never cleaned. Yeah, all right, whatever. We would have been well past that. So
I did find the threads posted the girl, the person was responding to, so that people could see what he actually said. So the post he made on Instagram was what I read, and then my friend Candace, this is from Threads. She said Roland really told us Serena tried to get him as Norfolk State commencement speaker and was mad they didn't pick him while doing a loving tribute to the man who killed her. These niggas are deplorable, and I agree. And then he quote tweeted her and said, quote thread, whatever, and said, "This is ridiculous. I shared details of my relationship with both of them. And you got a problem with that? And also, I despise the N-word from anyone." And people was in the comments saying, "Nigga."
Bro, Amber, this is what we talked about, this respectability shit. You have more problems with people saying nigga than you do a man killing his wife. It's
the nigga fuck you for me, because I agree. Oh, I actually know Josh too. Josh is great. He's a really cool content creator.
Oh my goodness. Amber, so this came up earlier in the week. It was very funny. We are the show that says nigga.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah, Seika. Our Friday show says nigga. Sorry, we're gonna do it. And
I don't care. It's not that big of a deal. I feel like people put so much emphasis on respectability politics of words. They don't put enough emphasis on political education. They don't put enough emphasis on holding people accountable for the harm they're causing in their community. They don't put enough emphasis on putting policy together to liberate our people. But you worried about me saying nigga?
Yep. And they're gonna be like,
honestly, we've been real. He just said that to scapegoat the accountability that he don't want to take. And he ain't said nothing since then. Like he tweeted that girl's Threads post and then said that and ain't said nothing else. But I said it's very telling that he has deleted his Instagram. He not saying nothing no more, but he getting called out left and right. And I hate people like that too. Instead of just acknowledging that you're wrong and you running and ducking and hiding, just acknowledge that you were wrong, that you fucked up, shut up. But no, he can't do that. And I think that also says more about him. And I hope that this is the final straw thing that cancels him. I hope that, because someone else was saying on Thursday, like his major listening base is Black women. And to me, if 7 Black women have been murdered by their partners this week, the last thing I'll be doing is taking up for this man that I was frat brothers with, who murdered his wife. Yeah. I hope that it definitely will be Brittany said it won't be. I mean,
it won't be because we live in like I said, patriarchal culture. It's indoctrinated into.
I think he'll see at least he'll see some numbers drop, because the majority of his listeners aren't older Black women. It's like middle-aged Black women, like millennials and like folks in their 40s, and they are pissed off about this.
Yeah. Even so, I will say, like Kevin Samuels, one of his main viewers are actually Black women. So when we talk about that kind of self-harm, I do think. Yeah, I think that there's a possibility it maintains, but I also agree people will be conscious and radicalized by this and irritated. I just want to boycott this person. And I 100% think they should follow him. I think people should harass him. I think people should nigga in his comments. I think all of these things, because the respectability, Amber, to your point, is part of the rape culture. Because that same kind of person is going to say, "Oh, she was fast." I already know. That's why I'm not surprised. Someone who's policing the N-word in a conversation where they're critiquing you about femicide is somebody who's also going to say problematic things about that normalize exploitation of women and girls. So the N-word thing is it's again like the worker thing. It's just so many red flags along the way. And that's why I did want to briefly get into it. It's a detour, and we could come back to it. But just like a relationship to hair, I think we have a relationship to the N-word that's worth exploring. That's generational and all of these things. Specifically for me, I was like, this is what they call us. This is like, for me, I was like, this is what they treat me as. Like, to me, it's almost like a dark humor thing in some ways for a lot of people. Because I was like I said, I was on this campus where these white boys say, hey, and then they want to be us. So there's a lot of psychology that I think goes into the word that we just ignore for respectability purposes. For we don't want to da. Like, no, I have the same thing around YNs and all of that kind of stuff. The YN. YN's energy is correct. And we could talk about CJ the Radical, and we talked about the Pushaisi story and all of that. It's correct energy, is just misdirected. So all of this, no, we don't want to be YNs. We got to put the quarter zip on. Fuck that. You can't be a YN. Just, you got to remember who deserves that energy. When you do a teen takeover, as they're saying is happening in Detroit and in Memphis and in all these places. Oh, the teens are going and they're tearing shit down. Don't we already, isn't that what we want? Isn't that what Fanon talks about? You just look at the other colonized person as the subject, but once you recognize the colonizer is the subject of that energy, then I want YN energy. I just want it directed in the right place. So that's, again, I'm okay with these terms if we're conscious of what it's about. And of course, everyone's going to have disagreements. I'm not saying you have to say it if you don't. Like, that's cool. But one, it's how our people talk. Two, is what our people are called. And three, I think it's just like a reclamation and reminder. Like, that's what it is, right? We haven't escaped that. These white boys are still saying it on campus and not getting away and not getting punished for it. So
hey, could you pull up that picture with Claudia and
Of course. Yeah.
And you said somebody said what happened if they have met, right, or something like
yes, that? He was supposed to see her when he went to London, and I believe she was sick or had passed away. But
yeah, she was sick. Sure. Yeah, she was sick. Yeah, so
so Early Grand Boys had organized it, I believe. Sorry, I'm pulling it up.
No, I think that's kind of. I think sometimes when we see pictures, like, it's hard for us to like examine like the whole day. Like, for instance, that day, everything that Malcolm X did that day, only the picture got captured at that moment. You're like, oh, well, Malcolm, but it's so many shit that might have happened that you would have never known because. So, Claudia was already dying, right?
Yeah.
And she was sick, and when he came to London, he was like, they said his schedule was so jam packed. Like he actually wanted to get over there to see her, but it's like he had a lot of shit going on. So it was, but I guess sometimes like what don't gets to be recorded or maybe fine, and sometimes maybe we shouldn't. I think there's an argument around Ashley Farmer saying certain things shouldn't be republished from Queen Mother Moore's life, but like you don't know the type of conversations they had or have or whatever. I don't know any recorded stuff, but you obviously know that they had conversation if there was a desire to, obviously you can see the picture too, but there was a desire to like get there. But they were connected, but it's just like at the time, like Claudia already had, right before she graduated high school, she was put into asylum for a while because she had TB in that dirty ass apartment that they were forced to live in when her mom died when she was 18. Like, she was already on the trajectory of having declined health even before she would start writing.
Yeah. I just noticed, by the way, it's my first time zooming in. I did not see the headline. It says Claudia Jones dies in her sleep. So, wow. Yeah, that was my first time making that connection. I will say, because I'm still processing a lot. We've been going through a lot. But again, with the N-word, another thing is that these black bougie niggas try to distance themselves from us. I ain't black, I'm OJ, right? This is exactly, okay, right? This is also a psychology that happens with them. That's why when these black respectability Negroes try and talk to us, instead of, again, addressing the root problems, they focus on pull up your pants. The NAACP, I grew up with that whole, let's make sagging illegal, that policing our own thing, actually trying to pass policies to get our young black boys locked up for sagging their pants. And spell sagging backwards, it's niggas. That I grew up on that. So that was a big part, like as a countercultural thing, as a revolutionary thing for me to start saying nigga for myself, because that's how I'm seen, no matter if I cut my hair, no matter if I do blah, 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 but also to remind y'all where you came from. Like, this is who you are, Roland. We're not peasants, nigga. So that's just, yeah, man. I had to think a lot through that, but shout out ancestor Claudia Jones. Yes, exactly, Bobcat. I grew up through that. The funeral for the N-word, that corny shit by Jesse Jackson. Yeah.
See, Dolores Tucker gave it to them one time, though, didn't she?
Yeah, what, man? And then Jesse Jackson, he needs to have that's what I'm saying, man. I'm getting taught about Jesse Jackson and respect this man, and he's putting a funeral for the N-word. And then I grow up and see this is a man who put Malcolm Martin's blood on his shirt to say he was the next leader of the movement. Tell me that story before you tell me to respect this man in the graveyard that he put all that shit. So that's always those histories that are left out so we can focus on these, black bougie issues. But, man. What does the charter school do to the mass haircut of black boys? I don't know, but he needs to be smacked. This is the same thing. Even the school uniforms.
So much anti-blackness.
So much, Amber. Thank you. Like in these, we gotta go to charter schools. They have to have school uniforms. Why? I don't get it. What does it do? But again, this is more conversation about me as an educator. I was in New York during the bonnet discourse and arguing people down. Of course, building with parents and working through the somatics and the trauma of like, oh, why do you feel this way? Why are you worried about your kid being profiled in the city where stop and frisk was a thing? I get it. But I'm also like, yo, if your kid can do algebra, I don't care if she's wearing a bonnet or a do-rag. What are we doing? Like, I have kids who are good at the math. That was the thing. I was good at the subject. Why does it matter if I want to wear pajamas to school? Why are you acting like that? And the reason is because these adults.
Too much respectability politics.
But also patriarchy, because so many of those conversations were about policing black women's bodies. And while they're getting bonnet discourse and told to come to school and don't have your shirt open because men will look at you, blah, blah, they're talking about the teachers. They're talking about the principal. They're talking about the security guards. Grown ass men. And you're talking about bonnet discourse and, oh, kids don't look respectable and cut your hair and all this. So it's always, to me, a mask for the deeper problems that we deal with as a people.
It's true. It's 9:02. I ain't realized it till now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Woo. That was heavy.
That other story was pretty heavy, too. So we probably would have been there all morning.
Yeah.
them bodies. That was in 2018, but it was a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah. Well, we got more to cover. I did tell Josh this was going to be a crazy week. Lots of cool stories that we can keep in the chamber for next time. Happy to see you here, Geechee.
We might talk about a few of them on Monday.
Okay, cool. Amber and Tandy on Monday, please cover a few things. I think Tandy will be really good to talk about the 95 bodies that we're discussing, but also just all of this culture. Tandy has a lot of work on this platform with the feminist politic, as I said, discussing like Karanga's victim, Deborah Clark. Her book, probably have it here somewhere, is really good. Some of Us Are Brave. It's like an anthology of different Black women and interviews that she's done over the years in LA on the radio. So it's really cool to read that. But shout out Monday. What y'all got going on this week or weekend?
I'm having my housewarming party that Geechee ain't coming to because he hate me.
That I can't come to either because I have to go out of town for work.
Everyone hates me.
Oh,
you didn't even invite me, though.
Do you want that leaf blower? Is that because I was looking at you? Yeah. Okay,
I got that.
I gotta visit when I'm up there this year. I will come.
I did. It came from a text message, Geechee. I had to follow people. Apparently, people wasn't looking at the text messages.
No, it was sending the updates. It was reminding me because I will forget. It reminded me multiple times, so I appreciate it. Well, we got to get you the housewarming. We got to come visit. I got to come through. I'm
He
excited.
said I ain't saying nothing. Geechee said I ain't saying shit.
I ain't say that.
Well, Geechee's been, you know,
You have been busy.
unplugged, and
Yeah, because you left out the country.
Claudia Jones.
See, Yipper understands me. Wow, y'all do hate Yipper.
Hey, Amber, man, Amber, drop the Amazon registry. Let's see how much you Yipper support.
Okay, cool. Hold on.
Okay.
Somebody buy my bookshelf.
Yes, that too. And then, hey, what we got for my dog? Where's our boy? What gifts we getting our boy, huh?
Mac has plenty of things. Here he go, right here. I don't know if I can see him on the floor. Check it out. He got a new feeding bowl.
Okay.
He got a new feeding bowl that's raised up so he doesn't bend down. He just can walk up to it. He got a little feeder thing in there to make him eat slower. He got a toy box, like a steel box that has all his toys and like balls and stuff in there. He has a backyard that he can run through. Okay. I don't know what y'all want from me.
Okay. I'll give it to him. Thank you, Kim C. 6867 for gifting 1 Black Liberation Media membership. I appreciate those. As always, you can donate with super chats. You can take memberships since we're remonetized, but we also recommend you getting a Patreon membership if you can, because we don't know when we might get shut down for conversations like these. Roland might see this and be a little litigious.
And if he do, fuck you.
What she said?
Somebody clipping and send it to him because he know he wrong.
He knew. He deleted. He's hiding. You're right. He's ducking and dodging for a little bit. So
just like LaRussell was. Somebody in the comments said LaRussell was. Just like LaRussell was.
Just like LaRussell. Yeah, LaRussell said he's not coming back to social media, but we'll see. Just like when rappers say they're retiring.
He don't have to come back.
Going on, brother? What you up to?
I'm rereading Evicted by Matthew Desmond. But so I'll be trying to finish up the syllabus for the summer work, Revolutionary Summer in Baltimore. And there's some other things that I have to do with the tenants today. And also have to finish drawing up some stuff for this Morehouse situation. So
All right. I'll be canvassing the community. We're gonna have an event, a screening of Sinners, this platform's favorite movie. Ooh. In the community. So that's April 30th, Thursday night. Check it out. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna have food, all the things, and community. So that's in Blackmanville, Miami. Follow us and pull up if you're in South Florida and want some community that evening. Also, I wanted to shout out our Theory Thursday that happened yesterday. We have our new political vision, the 9 bars. The first one was an end to all U.S. wars, foreign and domestic, covert and overt by all branches of the government. And it was an excellent session. So if you couldn't catch it, shout out Kai in the chat. I saw Kai was in there. I saw a lot of folks. I was very happy to see it. The session was excellent.
I saw it after I was done hyper-focusing, building a vanity.
I sent it too late, too. That's on me.
I got 27 pieces. I was stressed out. It was too much.
So that's on me. Kai, thanks for coming through. And for anyone else, we always have them on the YouTube channel, usually a few days later. So just check sometime this weekend. Amazon, that registry for Amber's housewarming is being dropped in the chat right now. But yeah, check out our Theory Thursday programming. And next week, we will have a mass call. The guests are TBD, but it's going to be on the same subject, and I think it's going to be fire. So next Thursday at 7, mass call. Check out our YouTube for Theory Thursday and some excellent discussion from our brothers. But that's all I got.
The Theory Thursdays are usually really good, though.
Thank you. We had some other folks from our team leading it this time around, so I was supporting in the background, but it's dope. Anything else for the people before we go?
No.
All right.
Thank you all for hopping on.
Thank y'all for being here.
And we had a good chunk of folks listening in.
Yeah. Saturdays with Renee, Darker Than Blue, Black Miss Podcast, anything else, Root Work, anything we got on the platform, check it out. As Chairman Fred Hampton used to say, as Jared and us say, peace, only if you're willing to fight for it, and we'll catch you next time.
Black Liberation Media is a collective of Black and African organizers, journalists, academics, and media personalities serving Black and African masses seeking to further grow in their understanding of themselves, their histories, and the African world through entertainment and news. Please continue to like, subscribe, and donate to the channel so we can further serve you and liberate our people. You can also go to blkliberationmedia.org, get some merchandise, and also become a Patreon member and a member from the YouTube. Please do what you can, share, and show your love as we will show ours for you. Black Liberation Media.